Hi there, I'm Natalie. Welcome to my new YouTube channel where I'll be documenting my art progress in 2021. I wanted to break the ice with a simple swatch video of the main art supply I use, which is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay inks. I don't know if the PH stands for Phil or something else. I looked up the details online and it seems to just be a brand rather than the name of a specific person. I'm going to be using Dr. Martin's as the brand name from here on out when I refer to them. At the start of the video I held up one of the bottles to show what information you get on the label. There isn't a lot of detailed info present, and the basic info on the side of every bottle just lists out light, fast and waterproof, pigmented India ink, holds a line without spreading, flows smoothly without tip drying, non-clogging and non-toxic. There is no rating for light fastness, so I can't speak to permanence in much detail. I have been using these inks for a couple of years and I know in my own work that I haven't noticed any fading, so I have to assume that they have good light fastness, but I might leave the swatch sheet I did today in a window somewhere and come back to it in the future to check. There is no pigment info that I can find on the bottles either. I've checked the few De La Rowney FW bottles I own, which are acrylic inks, and these do have a star rating for light fastness and they list the pigments used in each bottle. So I suspect that overall the Dr. Martin's inks might be a little lower quality than other artist-oriented inks, as it feels a little bit sloppy not to include that kind of information. However, I've personally loved using them and have produced a lot of what I would consider my best work with them. They're highly saturated, they spread really well. The texture on the bottle about holding a line without spreading is very true from, my own experience. If I load a brush and place it onto dry paper, it stays where I put it. In this video I'm swatching all the colours in the Bombay inks range as far as I know, apart from two colours which I'll come to in a second. The two sets I own of these Bombay inks are 12 bottle sets. Set 1 covers the basic colour spectrum well, and set 2 has a wider range of options, especially focusing on yellow to orange and browns. There is also a sepia included in set 2, which seems to be a grey. I'm not sure how that compares to what sepia usually is in other types of ink or paint. I assumed it would be a brown similar to sepia photographs, but as you'll see in the video it really is more like a transparent black. So onto the missing colours. In set 1 there is a standard yellow and a white. I used these the fastest from that set as I did a lot of stuff with yellowy greens, and I also use a lot of white because the white works differently to the other colours, so I've actually run out of those two from the original set. And as far as I'm aware I can't buy them separately, unfortunately, to replace them. It wouldn't really be useful to show the white in a swatch on its own here anyway, but what I might do is film a separate video using the De La Rowney white acrylic ink and demonstrate how I use that. White adds opacity, but it also does fun things if you create a wet area with a colour applied and then drop the white in. It sort of feathers into the colour and you can create some really nice ink blooms. It's very useful once you have a bit of experience and know roughly what you're going to get when using it so that you can use it intentionally. Having said that, with ink there will almost always be little accidents that happen, and sometimes they will be where you learn the most because you end up with some really pretty mistakes. So back to the swatches. In the video you might notice that yellow ochre, orange and terracotta are quite a lot thicker than some of the other colours. The terracotta in particular is a bit crazy in terms of how the pigmented ink seems to be separated from whatever binder is used. Even if I shake the bottle up, when I pipette it out, it always has a little oil slick of clear fluid around it, which the other colours don't have. When I came back at the end to film the bit where I show you the dried page of swatches, the terracotta still hadn't dried because the top part was so sludgy and thick. Having said that, I have been able to water it down and mix it just fine, so it's not unusable or anything, but I would probably not be using it neat out of the bottle. In terms of how the colours spread and dried, I really love how the violet had a really contrasty feathered edge. That might be a turn off for some people, but I like seeing odd bleed effects like that, and swatching these has helped me think about how I might incorporate some of the colours in future pieces. Like I could see myself doing some pansies with that deep violet and trying to make that effect happen on purpose. The cherry red and red violet actually look very, very close to each other on the dried page, so I think that's the one place where the two sets do actually have what feels like a redundant colour, and surprisingly to me they're both in set 2. I sort of felt like maybe set 1 and 2 were created at different points by the company, and therefore they might have sort of lost track of what particular tones had been in one set versus the other and doubled up. But actually you know, both of those are sort of included in set 2 as options, but they seem to be a little too close together for me. I feel something like a really deep rusty red might have been a better option, as the representation of cool reds seem to outweigh warm reds in the sets, or a lemon yellow would be nice too. Anyway, I think I'm almost done in terms of narrating this video. I included a view of the dried page at the end so you can see the final results, and there is a quick look at the ceramic palette I'm using with all the colours that I've pipetted out. You can see that most have already started drying, as ink does dry very quickly. I may do a video on the general properties of inks as an art material sometime soon to talk through how I use them and the pros and cons of them versus other sort of types of paints like watercolours, for example, that can be reactivated. For now though, the next video will likely be footage of how I used up some of the colours I used for this swatching video, as you can't put them back in the bottle easily once you pipette them out, so it's useful to use them up. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe so you can follow my art journey as I upload more videos.
you.